happen. I'm going to challenge it. I will shut you down in court. This is a tax scheme, and it'll be proved as a tax scheme. So get ready. I'll shut you all down, and that goes for you too, Lloyd. Remember my name, Lightning, because the storm is on its way. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Commissioners and Mayor. My name is Sandra and I represent Volks Workers' Rights Education Project. Our organization has been a neighbor in the Central East Side for the last 20 years. As you have seen in the presentation from the CIC, they championed the fact that they helped create Volks as an organization. And I just want to highlight that that process was much like this one, where the community had to pressure businesses in the organization to not view our constituents as nuisances, but as people who contributed to the vitality of the Central East Side. And so we're proud of the work that the Commissioner, the Mayor, the City Council has put forth in order to put our voices up front, but we're still concerned by some elements of the proposal that has been put forth, primarily the fact that majority of the funds in the ESD are geared toward private security. The CIC is touting their work with Northwest Enforcement, and as an organization working with St. Francis Church, who recommended us to collaborate with Northwest Enforcement, we have not seen the trauma-informed response that they continue to discuss. We see folks who are not prepared to engage with houseless folks, who are not bilingual, who don't have a culturally based response. And that's a huge concern for us. The people that we serve require people who understand where they're coming from, who are willing to provide services that are peer-based or peer-run, and are willing to work with them to get them to those services, not to connect them to the police. The history in Portland is clear that we need to focus on and support people who are dealing with these issues, and we cannot support a proposal that's focusing on security and policing our communities. That does not make us feel safe, that does not make us feel included, and until those terms are changed, we cannot support the ESD as proposed.
Thank you. Morning. Good morning, Mayor and Commissioner. My name is Ibrahim Mubarak. I've been a houseless activist for over 21 years. And if you pardon me a moment while I get off my tuffet. Happy birthday, Commissioner.
Ibrahim, we can't hear you, which means we can't.
We just wish her a happy birthday. That's all. I learned that day. That was pretty good. I'm neither for or against it until I see some more improvement. My concerns is the lapse of time that the city will help find a safe camp spot for the houseless community. And we've been waiting for about 4 years since Brad Lawson and his crew supposed to find us one, and that's people is dying now. My concerns is that the grassroots organizations like Right to Survive won't get into this bid to pick people in the houseless community. It'll go to the academic organizations who don't have really contact with houseless people, where Right to Dream 2, I'm proud of statistics. When I was there 2 years ago, over 400 people got housed, 450 people found work, 88 people went back to school, 33 people stopped using drugs, some got hired at Central City Concern for their trash pickup. 18 women kept their baby, and we had that success all by people, peer-ran, not peer-based operation. And also the crime went down in Old Town, Chinatown, and when we left, crime went up. And I'm concerned who would get those grants to help that. I'm also concerned, do we get to pick the houseless community instead of the academic picking the people that live in the streets and not going to their services? I'm concerned about the policing, that how would they get the sensitivity training? Would they get training from grassroots organizations, or would they get training from the police themselves? I have more and I know I have to go. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mayor. Ibram, I know because we've been in conversations with Central East Side Industrial Council that they have a strong desire to hire houseless people as part of their security team, as part of their community cleanup team, as trainers to make sure that people are using trauma-informed practices in their interaction with the community. And I know that you can't put all those words into a contract, but I'm watching the Central East Side Industrial Council members who are in the audience nodding their head up and down because they remember those same conversations. I believe them. I believe that they want to do the right thing. Having 3 or 4 houseless people on the board actually gives you a good group of people to actually push to make sure that these commitments are kept. And so you're not for or against, so I want to say, based on what I've just reminded you of, do you believe that this could be a model that we would want to actually implement, not just in the Central East Side, but in other locations?
Of course, this is setting precedents, whether when they do it good or bad, but we want to make sure they're doing a good thing and including the grassroots organizations such as Right to Survive.
And so you do know that that is the desire, right?
That's the desire. I have desires.
So would you feel more comfortable in we inviting you and Right to Survive and Central East Side Industrial Council, say, to come back in November and give us a report back on how well you're working?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I mean, that was just a question.
Okay. We good.
So I'm seeing people's hands go up and down.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I mean, so I think that's what it's gonna take, right? We're not gonna fix all the nitty-gritty right here at this meeting today.
Right.
But if people with good hearts and goodwill are willing to do the hard work to put it together, we've got your back, right?
Good. Okay. Yes.
Thank you, appreciate it. Next 3, please.
Are Jeff Liticote, Sandra Comstock, and Dan, and they'll be followed by Danielle Plott, Taylor Talbot, and Diana Remke. So Jeff's not here. Let's go ahead and go with Dan, or Gloria.
I'll kick it off. Hi, my name is Dan Chaffone. I run the Clark Center, which is the largest shelter in the Central East Side. It's a 91-bed men's shelter. I've also been an active member of the Compassionate Change District. And I had written a long letter here in dissent of this, and I was thinking about what Commissioner Hardesty said about the wind. So I'll just say my 2 main concerns. One is this still is shuffling people around as it stands without a hard commitment to a place for folks to go that is going to be safe besides my shelter and city team and Jean's place, which are completely overburdened. So without that hard commitment to a safe place, this still is just going to be that continued shuffling around. So that's what this needs to me, to be realistic. Or it's just going to be the status quo and a really great presentation, but that's where I'm at. But it is a win, and I am in support of that win.
Thank you, appreciate your perspective. Commissioner E. Daly.
I would like to address your concern. I'm the commissioner in charge of the Bureau of Transportation. We are taking another look at our list of right-of-way properties across the city, but specifically in the Central East Side, and we're already in conversation with CEIC and Right to Survive if we do identify a property that would be appropriate for an alternative shelter site, deciding on the best spot and the best approach to setting that up. So I agree with you, we can't keep sweeping and displacing people who have nowhere to go, and we're working on it.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, I'm Sandra Comstock, and I've been very involved in the Compassionate Change District proposal. First, I'd like to thank Commissioners Hardesty, Daly, and Fritz for investing precious time in beginning an important conversation that recognizes the legitimacy of our concerns regarding the historical harm business improvement districts have inflicted with crowded policing and cleaning programs that unfairly target those living on the streets. I am pleased that finally we have a commitment from the city and the Central East Side Industrial Council that we should establish a safe legal place where people can sleep without being disturbed. I'd like to add just, as an addendum to the daycare woman's comments that you're never going to get rid of all the needles and sharp things if you don't give people places to be. This is cleaning. We can clean and clean until the cows come home, but we need places where people can be. We need places where people can legally dispose of their trash, and we need places where people can legally go to the bathroom. So I'm also, let's see. Oh yes, I forgot. After I said the thing about being pleased about you guys agreeing to a safe sleep, I wanted to say that we're counting on the city commissioners to ensure that this may truly come to pass. We really, really want this to happen. I'm also encouraged that the Central East Side Industrial Council has agreed to include 3 people with lived experiences of houselessness on the board, overseeing the allocation and use of ESD funds. We would like to see greater guaranteed representation of non-property owners to ensure that decisions made represent the majority of people who live and work in the Central East Side. This is a small beginning for ensuring democratic input and oversight of partially publicly funded services that substantially shape all residents' experiences of public space. In addition, I am glad that the Central East Side has taken up Commissioner Udaley's suggestion of a policing protocol that the Northwest Enforcement people will be receiving 4 hours of trauma-informed training from unhoused and housed training teams monthly. However, we remain disappointed that the ESD has not changed its commitment to spend the largest portion of their funds.
Just finish the sentence and then we gotta move on.
Okay.
On private sector.
It's kind of...
Sorry, 2 minutes. Thank you. Next.
My name is Danielle Klock, and I'm the Executive Director of Sisters of the Road. This year marks 40 years that we've been actually working and organizing beside our unhoused neighbors. Every day that Sisters is open, we welcome 10 new first-time visitors to eat and contribute to the care of our space and community. Meanwhile, outside, arrests of people experiencing houselessness have reached more than half of all arrests in the city in 2017. Old Town has not received relief from the existing ESD there. When reviewing the claimed value of an enhanced service district, the words used mean different things to different communities. For many unhoused folks, clean means sweeps and loss of belongings. Safe means prioritizing the comfort of housed residents, while unhoused people are oppressed and driven out. Clean and safe, well, that means harassment and compounded trauma. Private security in the Central East Side Industrial District will recreate the problematic dynamic that Clean and Safe perpetuates in existing ESDs. The CEIC says that they want a truly innovative kind of ESD, but even with the negotiations that have moved forward with the Compassionate Change District Coalition, it will not adequately address the issues that lead to citations and arrests and compounded trauma of our unhoused neighbors. Specifically, safe sanctioned camping, garbage removal, access to porta potties. Portland loos are not adequate. Without taking the time to address these core needs before approval of this ESD, criminalization of poverty will continue. This is not compassionate. A sense of urgency and rushing is a characteristic of oppressive patriarchal culture. Sisters of the Road actively works to dismantle these oppressive structures. The rushed and pressured nature of these negotiations with the CEIC cannot have an outcome that truly takes into consideration all of the necessary factors that will contribute to an equitable outcome. We oppose the formation of the ESD, and we ask the council to do so as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Next 3 are Taylor Cass-Talbot, Diana Rempe, and Hook Dam, and they'll be followed by Fred, Mike, Michelle, Randy Miller, and Brooke Kavotic.
Good morning. Well, now good afternoon. You're the first up this afternoon.
My name is Olivia Louise, but I'm reading the statement prepared by Taylor Talbot, who's an organizer with Trash for Peace. She says that many cities around the world provide subsidized regular waste collection services to the communities that cannot afford it. They do this by providing contracts to the organizations of waste workers who come from these communities. In these cities, such services are not considered innovative, but they are rather a matter of basic sanitation and human dignity. There is a lot of energy in Portland around developing decentralized waste collection pilots that serve the city's houseless communities. She says that the CEIC is an area that would be an ideal place to begin such a pilot, and she hopes that it will attract ongoing financial support. But she does ask for an extension so that we can continue collaborative talks and workshop some of these proposals in the name of harm reduction. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm actually very interested in these kinds of models. If Taylor could reach out to me and maybe have some correspondence with me and send me some of the ideas that are being used elsewhere, I'd be very interested in seeing that. Thanks a lot, appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Hyung Nam, and I'm speaking as a representative for the Portland Metro People's Coalition, which represents a growing coalition of about 20 community organizations, including the Portland Association of Teachers.